internet newspapers, sheet writers, kayfabe sheet writers. I have no respect for these people. It's something that's written up by guys who actually never wrestled. Never been in a ring. They've been to a show, but they never got in the ring. So these are like what I call marks with knowledge. Inside marks. They get like, they pay people in the locker room. And some of the guys that they pay are actually workers. They wrestle. And you never know who they are. And the sheet writers pay them to give them dirt. Behind the scenes stuff they ain't nobody supposed to know about. Things that are supposed to be a secret in a locker room. And they expose what goes on in the locker room. Dave Meltzer writes a column. I can't stand the air that Dave Meltzer breathes because he's never had anything good to say about me. Not to say that I'm sensitive, because I'm not. But Dave Meltzer is a mark to his heart. And he makes his little money off on going around talking about guys that's in the business. You know what I mean? He's probably had a fantasy of being a wrestler one day. He's probably went home and played dress up like his favorite wrestler. He probably put on the bandana and the little t-shirt too tight and stand in the mirror and say, "Let me tell you something, brother." They do stuff like that, man. But if you don't buy the sheets, if you don't have the sheets, don't buy them, because it's like worthless. It's like getting somebody a penny and expecting change back. You get nothing. I wish all the sheet writers would die. I like to put them all in a boat and put a hole in it and send them out to the ocean to let it sink. Taz was the biggest bitch in the locker room. And he was the one in each and every locker room. Or send him the information.
Who else was sending people info like that?
I don't know, bro. I know he was doing it. I've heard other people, but I ain't for sure. But Taz, I know for a fact, was doing it. Call the sheet writers, call Meltzer, call Wade Keller, call all of them and just tell them what's on in the locker room, what's going on tonight, who got fired, who got caught for doing this, who got caught for doing that. Yeah, they do it.
Is that like hated by pro wrestlers, just like that?
Hell yeah, that's like the snitch in the locker room. That's the snitch. Beat the snitch up. That wasn't supposed to happen. To get in the business and survive, it takes a lot. This does not include backyard wrestling. You have dues you will pay. You will go on the road, you'll sleep in your car, you will miss meals. You will team up in a room and 5 of y'all might sleep in one room with one bed. Everybody else on the floor. You have to depend on each other to survive on the road, and it's hard. Unless you just some muscle-bound cat that comes in out of the gym and you get spotted by somebody that's in the business and you got the look and they'll train you, then, you know, the chances of you making it like that are like slim. Because they don't make them all the time. I'm the type of person where I've helped a lot of people get in this business. I help people get jobs in this business with different companies. But I'm also the type where I'm fair. And if I feel like you don't have a chance in this business, I'm going to tell you, don't even waste your time. Or I'll show you, if you want to pay me your money, I'll show you what you need to know. And then it's up to you as to which way you go from there. I'm not going to lie to you. If you come in with the just average body and the average Joe everyday look, then your chance of making this business are none. And I will be the first to tell you, don't waste your money. It's really been some dumb characters in wrestling. The first one that comes to mind is the Red Rooster. The guy had made his hair like to a mohawk. He walked around talking about and clucking like a rooster. And it was so Jesus Christ. Anyway, That one was like really stupid. The pimp gimmick. It used to be Papa Shango. That one was pretty good though, because I mean, like pimp hole, slap hole, pimp is a hole, pimp in the hole, this, that, and the other, which I thought was pretty good. It was entertaining. My buddy, my boy from way back, Too Cold Scorpio, when the WWF and they called him Flash Funk, and he was coming out looking like one of the backup singers for Parliament Funkadelic, and then they made a clown out of him. And then all the gay gimmicks. I mean, you've seen a million of those. It's been like the gay this and the gay that. Then you had like the voodoo doctor, like Papa Shango again. Then you have guys coming out pretending to be like street thugs. But of course, that's just their character. And then in real life, you meet them, and they're like really like little just sissies, just like little punks. Taz. He had everybody believe he was like this real tough, stocky boy from Red Hook, New York. And Tad's one of the biggest sisters in this business. You know what I mean? And like a lot of them, they start believing in their character. That's almost like Tupac. I love Tupac to death. I love him to death. Well, I loved him. Not like that, but I mean, you know, I was down with his music and what he said and what he stood for. But then you start believing that. You start believing in your music. You start believing in the characters you play on TV and what you putting out, what you spitting out on lyrics. And you ain't as tough as what you making yourself sound like you are. You know? And characters like, they had a Freddy Krueger character in USWA. He had the glove and the rubber mask. They had a Jason character. I've seen ghost characters. We said the homosexuals already. And it's funny. It's basically, you know, what would you do to make $1? And when you look at the business, you can actually let somebody dress you up to be anything that they find funny in this business for you to make money. But those are just a few of some of the dumbest characters. It's almost like the dumbest crimes being committed that's caught on TV. These are like some of the dumbest characters that I just mentioned caught on TV in professional wrestling. I remember one time, Balls Mahoney and other wrestlers, we were all staying in an apartment in Knoxville. And I just drove back up. Well, the apartment was in Morristown. I went down to Knoxville to hang out. I just drove back up, just got out of the car. I walked in the door. Balls has a plastic garbage bag over this girl's head, and you can see the bag going in and out because she's trying to breathe. The girl was having a seizure, and Balls thought she was hyperventilating, even though that's not the correct thing to do when you're hyperventilating, but he thought it was. Well, they had been having sex all night. Her, him, and a few other people. And when I saw this, when I walked in the door, I saw this bag going, and I'm like, y'all suffocating this girl. He said, she's hyperventilating. I said, y'all are suffocating her. And I got back in my car and I left. And the next morning, I came back and I walked in the door and she was sitting there with these real thick glasses on in Indian style looking at cartoons with Balls. And that was about as funny a thing I've ever seen him do. Now, I've seen him do some nasty stuff like eat boogers and hot snot in a cup and turn around and drink it. I've seen him do that. I mean, Balls is really disgusting. I mean, Balls is nasty. I've seen Balls go out and just find a beer can just sitting on the parking lot and just turn it on and drink. He don't care what's in it. You know, I've seen him do that. Sharing a room with Balls is out of the question. That's a nasty cat. You know, you my dog balls, but you's a nasty cat, bro. You know, I've been asked a lot of questions about the difference between fans, marks, rats. And I think I kind of explained what a rat was. The difference between a fan and a mark, there is really no difference. Basically, a fan and a mark, they both believe in the same thing. They don't know the behind the scenes of wrestling, and they don't know the difference between what's a work and what's a shoot, which means what's real and what's not. A mark is one that believes in everything they see on TV, and they believe in the storylines. Therefore, that's a fan. So if somebody calls you a mark, a 9 out of 10 times, that's because you are one. Because you don't know the business, and you think you know the business, you know what I mean? And a lot of times people come up to me and they say, Jack, New Jack, is the blood real? Well, take a look at my forehead. That should tell you. Regardless of how it's done, that tells you the difference between a mark. Some people that I notice in the business, they ask me to this day about the fork. When you stab with the fork, do you really stab them or don't you? I'm not sure. Well, if you know the business, you wouldn't ask me that. I've stabbed the shit out of people at times, and sometimes I haven't. So if you know the business, then that's not a question you would ask me. When you see people break their legs and their arms, and then 2 weeks later they show up at a show and they're not in the cast, then do the math. If you know the business, you wouldn't ask that question. A mark would ask that question. When the accident happened to Owen Hart, there were actually people saying, was that a work? Did he really get hurt? And half his brain was laying out on the side of the floor. Do the math. When I got hurt and I lost the sight of my right eye, people still question me today, can you really see out of your eye? No, I can't see out of my eye. But then again, if you was in the business, you wouldn't ask that question, because if you saw the kind of fall that I took, you would know that I was really hurt. I've had people even ask me as far as when I dive, they said, is that really you? No, it's a stunt double. Yes, it's me, stupid. I get this a lot when I travel. I'm sitting in the airport and I might walk up, smile, walk up to me and look at my forehead, and they be like, what happened to your head? I say, I'm a professional wrestler. They say, oh, that's fake, isn't it? I used to get mad about it. And then I couldn't get mad anymore, because I found myself entertaining the crap that wasn't even worth being entertained. Because if you think you can be if you think you can just walk in off the street and do what I do, then you're totally wrong. You got guys out here that we have to go and work out. You have to get in shape. You have to exercise, do steroids, or whatever it is you do to keep your body going, to do what we do. You know what I mean? And do I hurt, or do you guys get hurt? Yeah, they get hurt. We get hurt. I did a table spot one time, put the guy on the table, went up top, dove off, and I landed in the wrong position on the table. So the brace that's holding the table up underneath went through my side, in between my ribs, and punctured my lung. And that really didn't feel all that great. You know what I mean? And I did a compound fracture on my right ankle before. The bone popped right out. I broke my elbows. Broke my back twice. One of my buddies, Sabu, he was in a barbed wire match, and the barbed wire went through his bicep and ripped it wide open. Well, Sabu's like me. If he's in a match, he's gonna start and he's gonna finish the match. So he came in with the bright idea. He took some duct tape and taped his bicep back shut and finished the match. I've seen people get their necks broken, I've seen people die in the ring from heart attacks and injuries. Wrestling is not as entertaining as people think it is. Whether you think it's scripted or not, storylines or whatever the case may be. It's like a soap opera. Of course it is. Do you know who's going to win and lose? Of course you do. Unless you're in a match with me and you piss me off, then you might not know who's going to win and lose. But it's a situation where you have to go in the ring focused, you have to go in the ring in shape, and you have to go in the ring knowing what you're doing. As of recent, the backyard wrestling thing kind of took off. It's kind of died out now. You know, it was like a new record. Everybody paid attention for the first few months, maybe a year, and then just kind of died out. You know, it played itself out. Well, a lot of them cats didn't have the proper training, so a lot of them got in the ring, or take that back, they got in somebody's yard or whatever field or whatever parking lot and half killed each other because they know what they was doing. You know what I mean? This is not a business or a sport that's to be taken lightly. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can break your neck. You can hurt somebody, you can hurt yourself. My advice to people that's doing this and they're not taking it seriously, getting the proper training from the heart, keep doing what you're doing. I hope you fall and break your neck. You should. Because it's an insult to me to see somebody trying to come out and imitate me doing what I'm doing by taking a shortcut by not being trained properly. I got trained properly. Why? Because I learned from Ray Candy, who had been around the business for years. Rock and Roll Express, Tracy Smothers, Terry Funk, Bob Armstrong, Ken Tim, God rest him. You know, and if I forgot you then, I'm sorry.